It's nice to see you. Shannon Fire, the Mahony, and the old friends, always. It's kind of free bit, don't you? And so fun and dinner and short door holding. And now, for the law, it's a privilege to be here tonight to introduce our musician. But what we're going to do is we out at a glass shop. I want to say a few things about this program. Could have to say, namely and Anna, she started 9 years ago by Professor Patrick Williams here at the university. And the idea was that we bring out Irish musicians. We have our Irish studies students and the music tradition here, and continue among the Irish community, bring it together and build a relationship around the music between our musicians in Montana and those in Ireland, and encourage the younger generation also to play the music. And we're very, very inspired. This course that is kind of designed and in fact it's been very successful in bringing up some great musicians, and particularly those who come from families that have been, as I say, musicians since the time God was a small boy. So the music has come down, from generation to generation. This is something my mother at home would not allow us to play traditional Irish music because it belongs to the hereditary family. We could play the piano, play the guitar, who cares about that? We could play the pipe, they belong to the organ, or the box, they belong to the coffin, or the McCarthy's. We had no business getting involved in playing music that didn't belong to our family. So, I would like just to thank Patrick Williams of the School of Music. I would also like to thank all those who have been helpful in making this program such a success. My own department, which is the English department and all of Irish Studies. I also want to thank the Friends of Irish Studies who provided funding for all of this. And tonight we're getting high tech as well. We're recording the whole event, so I want to thank Kat for the generous grant they have made, and Ron back here who's been to a few of our events for recording this and preserving it so we can share with others who can't make it here tonight. I don't think there's much more that I need to say. I know you're sick of listening to me, sick of looking at me. And you came here to listen to the music. Our musician is Danny Mahony. He's from a place in Ireland, North Kerry. A place that has got a very, very rich tradition in music. He was raised, weaned in that tradition, and it speaks right through him. We are also very fortunate that we have our music teacher, who is a Fulbright teaching assistant, who's going to come up here, and we have some of our Irish Studies musicians who are going to join as well. So this whole synthesis of Irish Studies kids and traditional musicians playing together with us is going to happen here again tonight. Emily. He's for sale. So this is going to happen. So I'm done talking here. I would just ask you to give a very, very Irish Montana welcome to Danny O'Mahony.
From on south to we'll make a rash. So Montana reached in my own couple of dinner in. Like I said, in my own so far some tourist shop. It's great to be back in Montana and back in university to play a bit of music for you. I come from County Kerry, as Trail has said, and a place that has a rich tradition of traditional Irish music, song and dance. And it's very refreshing when I come here and see it so strong in Montana, and it's all as a result of the work from the great Cork band himself and the Irish Studies program here, so I think we'll be extremely proud of all of you. And play a few tunes with the lads later on from the course, and I'm looking forward to that. In the meantime, I'll play some dance tunes and that kind of thing, and I hope you enjoy it. We're going to play a couple of marches to start. The first one is called Back and Walk, and the second one is called Lord Mayo. So I hope you enjoyed it. carpet under me for all of the banging. I just live off it. But, I try and keep the noise to a minimum and the music to the maximum if I can. So yeah, they're old marches and grand tunes that the rock and Lord Mayo. So I'm going to go with the jigs. I know a lot of you, I met some great people here on my last visit a few years ago. And a lot of people with a lot of interest in accordion players from Ireland. I'm just wondering if you have any knowledge of any of the accordion players in Ireland. You know any of the names? John Raylan, absolutely, yeah. Brilliant player. He's in Seattle now, isn't he? Yeah. So I'm looking forward to meeting John actually at the weekend. Yeah, you know John for years in his club. Joe, of course, yeah. Killing the demon, man, killing the demon, yeah. Yeah, master man, I love about it, master musicians. Anybody else bring to mind? Fantastic, so there's a bit of sleep local coming into it. Yeah, Jackie's a wonderful player from Antwerp and County Park. So you're familiar with a lot of the accordion players from Ireland. I don't know if you've come across the playing of a master musician from County Clare called Tony McMahon. Maybe not. It's something you may do if you're interested in Irish accordion music. He's a great accordion player. He still is. Unfortunately, he's quite ill at the moment, advanced Parkinson's, and not able to play much any longer, unfortunately. But he was a great musician and a great producer and presenter of programs on RTE National Radio and TV. And so this instrument is actually Tony McMahon's instrument, which I came across in the last 12 months or so. I'm very honoured to have it, and Tony passed it on to me. It's an old quality granny from, I guess, around the late 30s, early 40s. And it's pitched in the key of D and D sharp, for those of you who are a bit technical. So it's not the usual system of accordion playing that I use, but I'm very taken with it in recent times, so it's the one I favour for the first half of tonight's concert. So I hope you enjoy this music. I play a couple of jigs on it. The first one is a version of O'Sullivan's March, and then some jigs associated with Joe Cooley. I don't know if you hear that name before. Yeah, so Tony McMahon was Joe Cooley's prodigy. And you know that recording of Joe Cooley, that old recording, I don't know if you've come across it or not, there's one commercial recording there about Joe Cooley, and it was Tony McMahon that made that record happen in Cooley's hometown in Galway, Peterswell. Yeah, so have a go at that. lot about Joe Cooley, because Tony McMahon, like I said, was his prodigy, and this strap on this accordion Tony got from Joe Cooley before he passed, you know. So there's a lot of history attached to this instrument also. There was a great series made for RTE television called The Green Minute, where Tony McMahon and the great banjo player Barney McKenna of the Dubliners fame went on a tour of Eastern Europe and playing music and busking and carrying on, as they would say at home. And, it's a wonderful program. You'll surely get it on YouTube if you ever get a chance. It's called The Green Minute. So a very interesting program it is. And I've got a bit from Mahony and slow air. And we'll slow down a little bit. This is an old air that I heard first from a great Connemara singer called Calling Fallen. But it's a song that has been sung by all of the great Shannon singers of certainly of Connemara, including Johnny Jeff Hatchie, Sean O'Donoghue, and Joseph Mahony. It's a wonderful song and a beautiful air called Storm Cream. And that you may be familiar with it or not, but it has a lot of history attached to it, especially from an immigrant's point of view. You're familiar maybe with the term the American Wake, and this is when the immigrants of Ireland left the shores for America and left home for America, and the night before everybody in the parish would gather in the home of the person who was leaving, and they would play music and sing and dance and have some drink and celebration right up until dawn, until the time that the person was going to leave the parish. And this song was sang by the mother of the immigrant. It was the last point of contact when they embraced. And this is the song that the mother would sing to her son or daughter as they were leaving for America. Because in those times, people left, of course, and didn't ever come back. So it was a very, very sad time. So the words of the start of the song are a storm of cream when you're far, far away from the home that you'll soon be leaving. It's many a time by night and by day that your heart will be sorely grieving. For the stranger's land may be rich and fair, riches and treasures golden will pine, I know, for the long, long ago, and the love that is never olden. I'll go maybe a couple of hornpipes now. The first one is called Wicklow hornpipe, and I follow with an old traditional hornpipe too called Cronins. And I'll have about maybe a reel in an old version of Come West Along the Road. So we'll have a national piece after that. The translation only yellow. So don't be afraid to let it out before the end. I'm yelping inside, you see. Yeah, music has that effect. Sometimes it's better than most of the other substances, I feel. Most of the time. Yeah, I grew up in Ballyduff, very small village in North Kerry, and when I play some of those tunes, I think a lot of musicians that played those when I was a child, you know. I learned from the local musicians in my village, because there wasn't a car in our house, and there was no transportation, so you could go as far as you could walk or cycle. And within that radius, there was quite a few musicians, and they were very welcoming and anxious that anybody who showed an interest would be helped, you know. So at the weekends then, I was a bit obsessed with it all the time anyway. My dad played accordion, and for his own enjoyment, he would never claim to be a good player or anything like that, but he really enjoyed when he played. He played every night. And it's my first memory of being at his knee and looking up, and yeah, that's my first memory. And then I remember seeing the accordion up on the wardrobe in the bedroom, and I was trying to get at it and I couldn't. And the next memory I have in it was the accordion out the back in bits and pieces. Yeah, I had 5 brothers, and they're all older than me. So yeah, they broke it in smithereens, so he had no instrument for a long time. Yeah, so when I started to show interest, it was time to get an accordion. Of course, he wouldn't want me playing anything else really. It's what I wanted to play anyway, you know. And so when time came to get one, and the guy who was selling them brought them to the house, it was the biggest, shiniest red one there, most expensive one, of course, that I put my eye on, and that I put my watery eye on, and my dad. I started this off in case I couldn't get it. But Dad wanted it also, of course, that he could start playing again. And so we both kind of started back at it again together, which was great. But and then at the weekends, he would lift the accordion down to the village for me, and I would join in with the local musicians. And so these guys were, you know, in their 60s and 70s. I was 12 or something, you know, that kind. So I've been around that kind of there's been that generational gap amongst me and the musicians of my area all up along, really, you know. And I've always loved that. I've always loved hanging out with that generation and learning from them, whether it's music or not. Yeah, it's been something that has stayed with me, you know. It was very encouraging. It was in the kitchen of one of the pubs where the musicians used to gather, and they'd be packed into this kitchen, and it would be a very intense atmosphere, magical almost, you know. And the music would be heightened. There'd be a heightened awareness of everybody, and everybody was just really into it. You know, there was great singers there, great dancers, and great musicians, and a lot of them, unfortunately, are no longer with us. And that tradition is something that I feel very strongly when I think about music, or when I play music. That's what gets me, really, you know. And it's that transition of tradition that I'm so very thankful that I was there to experience. So I'll shut up now and play the eulogy. I needed a rest after the last one. This is the Mahony that I thought of there lately, and I played for Orla, who's the resident teacher here. She's in that neck of the woods, I think. Yeah, what's her photo? Yeah, so it's a tune that came to my head the other day, so never brought it in. Music a lot of the time, it just kind of comes to your head and you kind of go away with it and chance it. Sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. But you have to try it anyway, don't you? Thanks very much. That's an old sentence called the drunken gauger. Yeah, so we've none of those around tonight. No, all very well behaved, I must say. Which is early age, let's say, at home. Yeah. Plenty of time for getting out of order. But anyway, I'd probably finish up. I think it's time to be taking a break for a sauce joke, as they say. Would you like a few reels or a slow air, or what would you like before I take a break?
Waltz.
Waltzes, reels, or what else?
All the above.
All the above. Okay. Okay. I play something a little slow and something a little not so slow. Would that be okay? Okay. An ear and play a couple of reels after Eddie. The ear is a great song, one of the great Napoleonic songs called The One That Was Our. And I would have heard it from the singing of brilliant Donegal singer called Rachel Henner. And it's a lovely, lovely air. So I'll have to go with that for you, and I'll finish with a couple of reels and we'll have a break then. welcome back. It's much brighter the second half, isn't it? You can see all your well-behaved faces now. So, some more music and another old instrument. And I want to play this especially for Bob O'Boyle. Is he here tonight? Maybe not. Maybe just a mute on it in the last time. Or John Conlon here tonight, all right? Yeah. So everybody that I met the last time didn't come tonight. That's the last time. So, if you don't come the next time I appear, they're going to be talking about you in your absence. So, return if you can. But yeah, hopefully I'll meet the lads in Butte on Saturday night. This is an old instrument, and it has a lot of history attached to it. There's no secret as to who it belonged to. Tom Camerty was a wonderful musician from just over the road from me. He came from Listowel in North Kerry. He was born in fact the same year that this university was founded in 1893. And he lived a long and healthy life until 1986. And those of you who are interested in Irish music, are you familiar with the great Cartman? Not Trail Up Over Down now. Captain Francis O'Neill. Yes. Okay, so Captain Francis O'Neill was a famous cartman from Banshee, from Trail Band, I think. And so he came to the States, and he was 30 years or more a sergeant of the police in Chicago. And his passion was Irish music. He was a flute and fiddle player. And I suppose he published and wrote about 5 books, I think. And they were the biggest collections of Irish music at that time, through the late 1800s and early 1900s. And in Captain O'Neill's writings, his last publication was in 1922, a book called The Waifs and Strays of Irish Gaelic Melody. And in that book he speaks about his most valued manuscripts to date came from my parish, from a man called Jeremiah Breen. Jeremiah Breen was an old fiddle master, a blind fiddler, and he was, in Captain Francis O'Neill's opinion, his manuscripts were the most valued of his collection at that point. So Breen was a master musician, and Breen's prized pupil was a man called Moss Campbell. And Moss Campbell married my great-grandaunt, whose name was Nora Wynne, and they had 8 kids, and one of them was Tom. And Tom Camerty immigrated and came to the States in 1925. Came to New York, as many of them did. Only the real mad ones came out this time. But it's amazing the amount of people I met in the last few days, even with the Irish connections, you know. The girl in our hotel, she goes, "Oh yeah, my grandmother was a farmer in Ireland, yeah." And I was buying a pair of socks today, and the man inside the counter was MacDonald, and he was had a lot of Irish connections. So I know that around here there's lots of connections to Ireland, and that's the main reason why I love coming here, I guess, you know. But a lot of them did stay around the East Coast, and Tom did. Tom was in New York for only a week when he was walking down Manhattan, and he spotted a music shop, and he saw the instruments on the window, and he went in, and he started playing the mellotron, and the shop owner came to him, and the shop owner was James Morrison, who was the infamous Sligo fiddle player. And James Morrison, there are 2 camps for those fiddle players or fiddle fans of Irish music. There's the Michael Coleman camp or the James Morrison camp, so you're one or the other. So, needless to say, I have to go out with the other. So I'm definitely a Morrison fan, a Coleman fan too, but Morrison had wonderful energy in his music and was great creativity. Coleman for me was a bit more lonesome, which has its attractions for me also. But anyway, without getting too into it, Morrison was the shop owner at that time, and he and Tom, from that point, were lifelong friends until Morrison's sudden death, really, in 1947. A lot of the musicians that came that time, unfortunately, didn't live long at all. All of those great musicians, the Michael Coleman's and James Morrison's, they all died young, unfortunately, from alcohol and all of that. And but Tom was impeccably behaved. He lived until 93, thank God. And he didn't smoke, or he didn't drink, or he didn't go with too many women, or anything like that. So I've picked up on most of his good habits, I think. Maybe not all of them, but so he was a really dapper man, and I've just seen photographs of him. Unfortunately, he died the year that I started to play, and so I never got to meet him. But I found, thankfully, through an old radio recording of RT Radio in Erin, a program that was done on Tom shortly before he died, and all of this information came to light. And then I realised who he was in terms of the family connection, and I went and sourced his family, his extended family. They had one daughter, unfortunately, who died young, and so no immediate family, but his nieces and that, I found them in County Limerick, and they gifted me his record collection, the 78s that he made with James Morrison. They recorded for the Columbia record label in New York City in 1935 and 6. And they were brilliant, magical music makers. Tom Banks was the man who played piano, and Martin Christie played banjo with him. So as a quartet, there was just so much energy and brilliance in the music. So yeah, Tom then played with different ensembles. He played with the Leitrim House Entertainers, and he had his own band called the Harp of Ireland Irish Radio Orchestra. He was the first Irish musician to play in the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City. So that was a huge leap from the rural setting of where he came from, in the Bob Road in the store. So he was a wonderful player, and this instrument, like I said, came to me through his wife's nephew. And he was an old bachelor man living alone in rural County Kerry. He never invited me to his house. And when I see how he presented himself and the accordion and his car, I understood why. He was an old bachelor man, and when he came, he drove up, and the door was hanging off the car, and that was tied on with baler twine, you know, baler twine, blue baler twine. And then he got out, and he had a big long duffel coat, a black one, and that was tied with blue baler twine. And he gave me out the accordion case, and there was a big hole in the front of it, and that was tied with blue baler twine. And when I saw that, it immediately, it was full of, there was a little community of wildlife in it. There was insects crawling everywhere out of it, and stuff growing out of it. And it had been left in a shed, a bad shed without a roof, I'd say. I'm not sure. It wasn't in great shape anyway. So, fortunately, the only thing we had to replace was the left-hand strap. Everything else is as original from 1925. And all of the reeds were saved, none had to be replaced, thank God. It was built, like I said, built in America, built by the Iori family. As you can see on the front, F-I-O-R-I-N-Y, so the Iori family were Italian family, accordion makers in New York City at that time. They made all of the accordions at that time, as far as I'm aware. And as you can see, the Irish American flag, very prominent on the front, and the harp signs and chamber signs and all of that. It has affectionately become known as the bling box. Because it was in that shed for so many years, it smells wonderfully of mould. So, just in case you think it's me in the front row. So I give a blast of music on it, and like I said, it's really reminiscent of that era of early 1900 dance hall of New York. These instruments were built at a time when there was none of these fancy microphones or great soundmen like Sebastian. There was just a big hall and a load of dancers, so the instruments had to be built for volume. So like everything else made in America, it's pretty powerful. Can you hear it okay? Did you turn it off? You did? It's not that loud, or maybe it is. But it's wonderfully melodic. And there's an awful lot going on in the sounds of that, you know. And it reminds me of that time, that era. So James Morrison recorded with two accordion players. One was P.J. Conlon of Galway, and the other was Tom Campbell. And those two jigs, it just went to show how, as Tom spoke about it on that radio recording, how Morrison's music influenced him. His music also influenced Morrison. That first jig is now commonly known as Morrison's jig. And that jig Tom brought with him to New York as a stick across the hop, which he got from his father, Moss Camerdy, who got it from old Jeremiah Breen that Francis O'Neill was talking about. So that's where that jig came from. And it was recorded on 78 Records as Moss Camerdy's favourite. That's what Morrison called it at the time. But commonly known today as Morrison's jig. And so you can see the influence of how Camerdy's music had a big influence on Morrison at that time. So I might have about a couple of hornpipes that Tom recorded on those records. Give them an assault in their ears again, Sebastian. I play this especially for Austin. I might be on accordion player who's going to be a button box player after tonight. He's going to play for you very soon. He's one of the wonderful students from the Irish Studies course who will be coming on stage very shortly. His hornpipes are for you, Austin. Thanks a lot. It was kind of interesting too, the fact that this accordion system it never came to Ireland. It never came transatlantic. So it kind of remained here as an accordion system. So it's D, C sharp, which is the opposite of what I was playing earlier. What I was playing earlier, you'd be starting on the inside wall and going out, if you understand. And on this one, you're starting on the outside wall and going in. So it's like the way you're driving the left-hand side over here. Or maybe it's us that's wrong. So it's a much different type of accordion playing, and it lends itself to much different type of phrasing and certain tunes are very suitable on it, and certain tunes are kind of impossible on it. And then it also helps if I stick to drinking this kind of stuff, to remember which way I'm driving, because it's on the left-hand side of the road or the right-hand side of the road.
Well, I tell you, maybe take your pick in the middle of the night, I think. There's no sound your way.
That's the fact. I might play a couple of polkas as I was talking about the kitchen of Brown's Bar, where I grew up musically, and many other ways too. There was always a set dance at the end of the night, usually a polka set, so there'd be 4 facing 4 in a very small area too. But it would be always danced on the weekend, and these are the tunes that would normally be played. And the first one is also a tune that Tom recorded with James Morrison. And the second two, then, again, they're very much associated with that. In fact, I recorded them on one of my albums, and I called them Brown's Kitchen. Brown's Kitchen polkas. So. of a smoke-filled, drink-filled, and character-filled small room full of dancers there, and that's how it was, and I'm glad it was that. Great memories I have when I think of those tunes, you know. I think music has that. You reflect on where you were when you heard the music, or where you were when you learned the music, and the people that you learned it from. And you know, when I learned from those people, I learned more than just the notes. You know, you learn where they got it from, and the way they spoke about it with such love and passion. You know, you understand immediately, or certainly after a period of time, the respect that they had for it. You know, because after all, it was their identity. They were the music. They were the music men. In fact, that's how they used to be addressed after Sunday Mass. Or the traditional men is how they would be addressed, you know. And you know, you'd have the farmers on one side and the fishermen on the other end. The traditional men were the musicians then in another corner, and it was their identity in the community. And yeah, they had a wonderful understanding of the music and a fierce love and passion for it. And that is something that I think that's how tradition survives in a community. So I'm going to be joined on stage by some of the wonderful students of the Irish Studies program. So to give a wonderful round of applause to Orla, to Una, and to Austin. Sebastian, you're trying to quieten Tom Cameron in me. Yeah, so I'm going to few tunes, and then we're going to have a go maybe at some jigs, I think, and we may have a dancer or two as well, so we're in for a bit of a treat. So, mic yourselves up. So, this was a great bit of music that we enjoyed yesterday evening in class here in the university, and I'm looking forward to hearing it again. So we're going to get some fiddling and piano playing to start off. So you're on.
We're going to play a set of jigs, Sleeve Russell and Apples in Winter, and we want to start us off.
As good as you get it at home. Wonderful altogether. Thanks so much, ladies. It's fantastic dancing. And we're going to get some box music from this gentleman, Austin, now, and his favourite kind of folk is. So this is the Kerry folk. And it's not a Kerry man playing it. It's Tom Conference. And there's a lovely intro. So keep your ears conked. Kerry Montana Ball, please. Great stuff. A few tunes we're going to finish up with now are tunes that I introduced to the lads yesterday evening, and the first one certainly anyway was another tune that John recorded, a wonderful Barnlands called The Bed of the Ball. And The Bed of the Ball this evening goes to Una on the piano. Una liked this tune yesterday evening, so we said we'd learn it for this evening, and we're going to maybe finish with a reel afterwards called Captain Kelly's. So my sincere thanks to you all for coming out tonight and being part of our music. It is a real pleasure to play for you, and I hope that you can take home a CD, because then you can listen to it at home. And keep in touch. There's websites and all of that social media business and all that. We do look forward to coming back again around Montana, and hopefully we'll meet you again at some point down the road. And my thanks to Trevor Don for the invitation to return to the university and to be part of their studies program once again. It's a real treat to be in Montana for a few days. So we'll be in Butte, I think, on Saturday night. If you know any of your friends or family down that way, we'd love to meet them and play for them. So that's it, folks, from me, Danny Mahony, and from Orla and Austin and Una. We're going to finish up with some dancing too, I hope. So here's The Bed of the Ball and Captain Kelly's. Thanks a lot. For those of you who want to come and see our cement box, afterwards you're very, very welcome to do so. So she's been showing for reasons over there. Definitely play you one more. Why not? It's a not really seasonal tune about Christmas Eve. But it's one of the great reels of folk traditions composed by a great musician called Tommy Cohn. So it's Tommy Cohn's Christmas Eve. And again, many thanks for coming out tonight and being a wonderful audience, and I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. And we might sing again, please. Thank you. So take it away. Come on.
Yeah, for that.
Thank you very much.